Good afternoon, youth and youth. I want to first of all apologize for being late, but I'm coming from a funeral, and I did communicate that I would have had to go. I was on the program, but I would come to pay my respect and be engaged in this dialogue. I have been Member of Parliament for a very long time, 25 years, the 30th of March, the longest serving Member of Parliament since 1944. But I've been in the parish for 39 plus years. I came here as a dental surgeon. For 11 years, I was the only dental surgeon in the parish, working at least I work in Bath, Princess Margaret, Cedar Valley, Trinityville, Seaford, Yallas. And over the period, I was engaged in community-based activity. I started out my career in the parish as manager of the Challengers football team. Then I got involved in 4-H, which, as you know, it's a youth-based organization. I was a clubite. I became a leader of the 4-H movement in St. Thomas. Then I became chairman of the board of 4-H. And when I became parliamentary sec with responsibility for youth between 1995 and 98, I had the responsibility for 4-H and for bringing back in 1996 the National Youth Service that had gone out for a period. But young people and youths have been my point of focus. My critical point based on education and training. From day one, my position was clear. And I think persons are buying to it after 25 years. I have always said that if there's one thing I want to be remembered for, is my fanatical support for education and training. And this is why 20 million that each member of parliament is allocated for programs. I spend 8 of that on education and training. I've been having a GSAT luncheon for top boy, top girl in primary school, which we have 20 primary schools for the last 26 years. And in fact, our focus have been on training support from early childhood to university scholarships over the period. And we have been able to see the kind of outcome in terms of the teachers, the nurses, the doctors, the lawyers that have been a part now of the landscape of Eastern St. Thomas. The fact is that our big disappointment has been the job creation. And while I think all of you as young people would know, St. Thomas basically was an agrarian economy. And agriculture was the base, sugar, banana, that have had significant fallout over time. Now we are moving towards the service industry. And this is why I am happy that at this time there's a contemplation of the new city center at the whole Goodyear factory. And it is our view that outside of the BPO industry that is projected, there is projection for a number of other things that I believe will respond to the youths of this parish. I personally believe that in relation to, and I want to congratulate the program, these 2 days for young people, because I believe that the apathy as it relates to politics and governance many times our youths, the engagement that we should have and the understanding and appreciation for the role of Member of Parliament in relation to what we should be doing, whether it's road, whether it's education, whether it's agriculture, the creation of opportunities, while there are others who believe that the role and major role of a Member of Parliament is around just basic welfare. And I don't believe we can discount welfare, because welfare is broad, whether it is funeral or other kinds of support, health, etc. But I do believe our role as parliamentarians, and you'd have had the lesson, in the creation of bills and our role in relation to making representation. But it is 63 of us, including cabinet members at different points in time. And therefore, you have to make representation, not always getting what you want, but at the same time, we have been able to get some things. I think if you look around St. Thomas, persons will tend to say St. Thomas is the behind the last of this. But I think part of the psyche too is that even when we are winning, we believe we are coming last. Paul Bogle Junior High School now, which was built in the mid-90s as Paul Bogle Junior High. That was built during my tenure. Changed over into a high school now. We have set up UIDITE at the time in the mid-90s, again from social and economic support program, to now we have UIDEC at Paul Bogle High School that is creating opportunity for young people, for teachers and others in terms of degree programs using the latest technology. We have had the opportunity to, if you look at the basic schools, several basic schools have been built. Community center, sports have been a big thing for me. I have, for 25 years, sponsored the Division II football. I'm involved with the schools and athletics and all of that. I believe that it makes my job much easier for this kind of engagement. And so, moderator and your team, I really want to congratulate you, because this is the kind of engagement that I've been also looking for, because there are young people who it is just facilitation and opportunities that you need. And some of you are disconnected even from the political process. And that disconnection have put you in a position that many of the opportunities that could even come, it has not, because you don't know who to talk to, where to go. And I am saying to you that much of what you do, some of you will say, boom, you know, politics, I mean, that. But who is going to take over from me? Who is going to take over from others who have been around? It must be you. Young generation coming. When I started out, I was fairly young. But the day must come. And you will have to come out to become the next round. You're leaders now, youth leaders. But you have to become the next round of leaders in industry, in the school community, in politics, etc. And I really look forward to the questions that you might ask and the engagement, because this is your forum. I'm just happy that you have been able to facilitate me.
Thank you, MP. Thank you, thank you. Well, since you've been around so long with that responsibility, young people, here's your opportunity, especially those who weren't trained yesterday by the Talk Up Yout team, to ask questions. All right, so I want the rest of the guests to please introduce yourself. Not as long as the MP did, because he's been there so long that he got a long opening. But I just want to quickly just introduce yourself, and then we're going to open the floor for our young people to ask you questions. So not the young people as yet. Yes. Sir Cargo.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nico Cargill.
Oh, Nico.
Yes. However, if you refer to me as Cargill and maybe even Gurgle, I will respond. All right. So I am a constable of the Jamaica Constabulary Force attached to the Morant Bay Police Station and assigned to Sissoka, the Center for Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse. I have been a member of the Constabulary Force. I believe the 20th of this month, I would have served the Jamaica Constabulary Force for 9 years. I'm not from the parish. I'm from St. Catherine. I'm a stranger here. But since working in the parish, I have fell in love with the people, interacting with the young minds. I too am very passionate about the direction in which our parish at large our country is going as it relates to young people. So I am also grateful to be a part of the panel, to be a part of this forum, because it is through forums like these that I am able to send the message out there. And I look forward to having an interacting evening with you. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Well, this figure you see standing here, name is Leroy Powell. I am also a member of the Jamaica Constabulary, a corporal of police. I work from the Community Safety and Security Branch, and I deal directly with police clubs. And I am seeing a few of my clubbites here today. Let's give you a thumbs up. My role and function entails engaging youths, finding out what your issues are, and trying as best from the JCF standpoint to affect those issues.
Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause.
Hi, I'm Nordine Mackenzie Smith. I represent the BAT division the other day. My vision for youth, you know, I'm a teacher by profession for 13 years, right? I love youth. That's my passion. I love kids. And I love the youth, and I love to see you uplift.
My question was, the government came with programs to teach us and to let us get jobs. But after the end of the program, there is no jobs. Why there is no jobs?
All right,
Mr.
so
MP?
so you're talking about the government gave you which program? Is it
The OPE program.
okay? So you went to the Hope, you participated in the Hope program,
Yes.
you completed it,
Yes.
and there's
No job.
okay. Who would you like to address the question to?
The MP.
MP, would you like to please address that, please? Your constituents are concerned.
Okay.
And
I think, sorry.
one more.
Okay. Sorry
He
about that.
talked about community center. He's always at Johnstone, but there's no community center in Johnstone, and he's always there. Why is that so?
Okay.
Well, I think you would well know, and from the presentations yesterday on governance, you would have communicated the HOPE program, as it spells out, is supposed to offer hope. Right, in the first instance. That is the basis, that is the fundamental basis on which the present government has put forward the program. Now, when the training, I know that as members of parliament we were asked to put persons out for training. There was no argument at that point that spoke to when this is over, there is a job set for you. It is part of training, it is part of readiness, because I've said to persons, there are persons with 8, 9, 10 CXC, CAPE, who's not working presently. And therefore, what we are saying, and I said it in my opening remarks, we have to be able to create the opportunities. I do believe, where St. Thomas is concerned, that with the highway that is being, the Southern Coastal Highway that is being proposed and to start this year, going from Harborview to Port Antonio, that this will be a major opportunity for opening up for investment possibilities in St. Thomas. In essence, the road to development would be, in this context, the development of that road. And we believe that the Goodyear complex, others, because again, the fallout, we have been a dependent parish on agriculture. There has been significant fallout, and that has created some issues. It is a fact that I wouldn't go to say I am always in Johnstown, but I was there on Thursday. It is a fact that you have a old community center, well, a shell of it now. Johnstown is one of those areas that is slated for a community center. However, over time, you would have seen work being done. In fact, while I was there on Thursday, we are doing a road in Johnstown, the Mount Alto Road, which the citizens have been complaining about. That road, if you are living anywhere at the top, you will have seen that that road has started. The question of the community center and the fact that you have again raised it, I will say to you as the Member of Parliament, I will double my efforts. But there are many other districts, but all community development and politics is local, so you would want to see it in your area. My thing to you as persons who have had training, whether high school or Hope, it is that it's still, even though you are not working now, I still believe you are better off, just as the fact that you have had the opportunity for this 2 days training, utilizing it well, networking well, I believe that you will be better off. Whether it's job, whether it is back to school, at tertiary level, you'll be better off than young people who have not had the benefit of having CSEC, CAPE, or continuous training.
Over the years, we have been continuously hearing about the Goodyear Hova being reconstructed, but here we've seen the place being chopped down, but there is no reconstruction being done on the building. What is happening?
I could respond quickly to that. I alluded to it in my opening remarks. The Prime Minister himself and members of the cabinet were at Goodyear. It could have been about 6, 7, 8 months ago. What we have been told is that by the second quarter of this year, we should be seeing a phase startup of that new expanded township. I am not a part of cabinet, so I can't argue to come here and tell you it is going to start then. I'm telling you what is on the agenda, and it was communicated to us by no lesser person than the Prime Minister himself.
Most communities doesn't have community center. I was wondering if there would be any implementation to put these places within communities to offer skills or meaningful opportunities to young individuals. Within my community, Little, they said there's a youth club, but I've been there times and times, and there was no youth club meeting held continuously.
Can I maybe answer that? So whose youth club is it? Because there are millions of types of youth clubs. Is this a government youth club?
Police youth club.
Regarding the police youth club, the population at Lethal Club would have depleted due to persons moving away to either continue their studies or being gainfully employed in other parishes. Due to the fact that the persons attending were being the children, when it came down to examinations and so forth, the president decided to give them a break to allow them to prepare for their exams. So they have restarted. So you could visit them on a Sunday evening.
All right, there we go. There's an answer. All right.
Just one quick...
Yes, MP, go ahead.
I remember years ago, the same youth club you spoke about, the police youth club, as member of parliament, I gave them a boat, an engine, for economic support based on, you remember Lisa Richards used to be the president, and we, so I'd love to see Youth Club Police Club, up and running again. But certainly it had great potential in the past.
My question is to the MP. Here in Jamaica, we have a very partisan culture, especially in St. Thomas, where certain opportunities are only offered to persons from a certain party because some of the people in charge of them only see things green or orange. My question to you is, how do you operate differently to ensure that your people are equally treated?
Anyone who knows me, when it comes to being a political tribalist, I could never go down that road. And I say it in the context, if it was not for supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party supporting me even my first election, and many have continued. We have had mayors, deputy mayors, and others who have moved over. We have had my education program. When you have a program that says top boy, top girl in each primary school, it matters not who that top boy or top girl is. I have been very careful, especially when it comes to education. I do believe you must have equal opportunity. I am not saying that at the base, in both political parties, that you don't have persons who have a tribalist outlook and would want to say the 20 million that an MP gets, when I say get, you don't get it in your hand, in programs, that it should go to just your supporters. I believe any progressive person would recognize that you could never grow if your intention is just to deal with persons who are associated with your political party.
The thing is, it's not you directly, it's the people that are working for you. So for instance, you have a program.
Yes.
Most times you don't go directly yourself to deal with the program. You give it to somebody you trust and said they will issue it equally. But oftentimes they only give the person who is supporting your party, and even when they don't have enough participants, they send it back or go somewhere else and find person to participate.
I will admit that I have had to deal with issues of that nature in the past, but I can tell you, as the leader, I have never supported that kind of politics. Never supported it.
Move to the issue of crime and underage sex. I'd like to ask, St. Thomas obviously has a big problem with it. True or false? I've been working in this parish for about 3 years or 4 years. And I can tell you, I know many young girls who've been sexually abused. And it's a big problem that's dear to my heart that I would like to see corrected tomorrow morning. So I'd like to open up the floor to our advocate, Chantal from Church Corner. Come forward. You have a question. And advocate Casey.
I would like to ask, as a young girl, I speak for all, and I would like to ask, will there be more work facilities for young girls to be instead of being on the road and end up getting pregnant?
More facilities for girls.
Working facilities.
Working facilities. Okay. You mean like jobs or?
Jobs and educational facilities.
Okay.
All right. The core function of Sissoka is to investigate all sexual related crimes, to include child abuse, right? Being in the parish for going 2 years or 3 years thereabout, I have seen where there is a lot of offenses being committed as it relates to sex, S-E-X. And one of the main offenses that comes out on a daily basis at my office is having sexual intercourse with a person under the age of 16. Now, if I am to be honest, and I am going to be honest, sometimes what we find is that persons, I'm referring to females now, persons who are under the age of 16 put themselves out there without apology. However, and we can, as it relates to boyfriend and girlfriends, because everybody know that the age of consent in Jamaica is what? 16. However, you're still a child under the age of what? 18. Now, persons in high school community get together and them call themselves boyfriend and girlfriends. You hear it? Now, children nowadays are not closely monitored. Last night, Corporal Powell and I, we were in York supporting a friend who lost one of his relatives. And when, I'm not certain if you observe, Mr. Powell, but when we were leaving, the amount of young girls that I was seeing on the lane, skimpily dressed, and then you saw them, some of them pairing up with guys, and you know, the whole culture of man a look woman came into play. And I was saying to myself, where are the parents? Because it was like about 3 o'clock in the morning. And that lane, the event was taking place by the yard, yet the lane which was not properly lit was filled with the young girls. Now I'm saying, as parents, children are not properly monitored as it relates to relationship that is supposed to be fostered and nourished between children and parents that is not developed. Because sex is a natural aspect of life. Am I right? And it comes with feelings, right or wrong. Now, nothing is wrong with having the feeling or the urge to have sex. However, it is the context, time, when, and how you go about the action, right? Now, if good relationship, and this is my personal view, if good relationship is fostered between parents and children, then I believe when this particular time arrives in the life of a child, then they may go to mommy and daddy and say, mommy or daddy, you know that me have a little boyfriend and me feel one little way, and whatsoever that conversation will take on, and that parent might be able to guide the child into the right path, as opposed to the child just getting up and go link one of them chargy and them sistering and get the wrong advice. Huh? Just last week, no, not last week, this week, a female came to my office, and when I interviewed her, she was only 13 years old. She was at home and feel boring, and she just left her yard and come on Morant Bay, buy a patty of juicy beef and go sit down by the park. Sitting there, then she was approached by, I would call that person a wolf. Eh? Yes. And that person engaged her in conversation, and within 20 to 30 minutes, they relocated, they moved from sitting where they were and went down to the seaside, and sex took place. Unprotected sex. And yes. Now she is pregnant. And what is hurtful about it, she only know the alias of the young man. Huh? No. Another thing that is an issue, and I see on your task board, poverty. I have seen poverty in probably its greatest aspect in St. Thomas. Now, poverty in St. Thomas is high. Poorness in raw Jamaican language, it there whole heap. Eh? Parents find it difficult to maintain or sustain their child or children. And so some children themselves just go out there and take on the role or the responsibility of working for themselves. Now, it might not be a bossy job. It might not be a 9 to 5. However, some of these jobs, they come at a cost. Because when them go out, persons realize the situation that they are in. Sad to say, they are taken advantage of. And it is, if you want the job, which the Child Care and Protection Act says no one under the age of 14 should be doing heavy work. So probably if you are 14 you want to help out mommy and daddy, and you can get a little light work, go in the library or a bookstore or so forth, fine. But some persons now realize the situation of an individual, and I am speaking specifically for the females. So the employer, the prospective employer now seeks the opportunity to get back from that person. So it is, if you want this job, whatever meager or mager the salary is, if you want this job, then you will have to have sex with me, the employer. It is here, it is happening. Now, what is sad is that females are falling into the trap. Females are falling into the trap. And it is through programs, seminars like this, that we seek to empower. It is better for you to satisfy with tin mackerel and pound of flour, I would like to say. I am not from a rich culture. When I came to St. Thomas, poverty boxed me left, right, and center. I slept in the street, and I did not bow to the temptations that my friends put to me. I am saying to us, if we are resilient in our quest for the future, then we must put up some resistance against some things. You understand? I hope your question was answered.
Thank you so much.
Experiencing a lot of children not going to school and being mistreated by their parents. I was wondering if there is, do you think there is a better place for delinquent children, or where there could be?
It is an offense for a child under the age of 18 according to the Child Care and Protection Act. It's an offense if that child is not enrolled or enlisted in an institution of learning, school, right? Now, if for financial reasons, for example, the child is not attending school, let's say mommy and daddy say, boy, officer, I no money, you know, father losing work and so forth, then my question to that person will be, what steps have you taken? I mean, I know that MPs and other agencies, yes, PAD program, supports or provide some level of support. Sometimes persons just sit back and just say them not have it. Now it is an offense, and it is triable in the no parish court. Understand? Children loitering on the street or in the corner, it is also an offense. However, some children straightforward and say, "Me nah go to school." From time to time, I get that call. My daughter no want go to school, my son no want go to school. What are the underlying issues? Now we have agencies that we work alongside. One such agency is the Child Development Agency, CDA, who will have to come on board and deal with the social aspect, because something must be wrong why that child don't want to go to school.
Recognize as it relates to child abuse and sexual abuse, but I want the records to reflect that although St. Thomas would have had, I think last year, 16 murders relative to 321, relative to 300 in St. James. St. Thomas, Portland are the two parishes where, in relation to crime and violence, we have, relative to the rest of the country, we have done reasonably well. But when it comes to child abuse, incest, and this is a long time, but now that the process is more open and we have strengthened the institutions that deal with that, we are seeing more of it coming. But I can tell you, moderator, that as far back as 30 years ago, when I came in this parish, I saw quite a few cases of incest, quite a few.
And
with
I think
justification from
St. Thomas recorded one of the highest rates of teenage pregnancy in the country as
That-
well.
That's right. I
So-
think those are some of the
Yeah.
issues that I think we have to focus on, and that is why also the parenting seminars, along with some of the other things, coming back to core values, You know, because oftentimes there are persons who, when you speak around core values, they see it as a, you know, and some of the things that happen is because there's no moral compass. There's no core values that say this is just not right. And there are some cruel men in our society, young and old, who have abused our women, young women, and older women too. And we have seen it in partnerships, etc.
In addition to what MP is saying, it is so disturbing when we are at our jobs in the days and we see numerous parents streaming in with students from different schools. And you get the feeling that we are not doing enough as law enforcement. So MP just spoke about parenting seminars. My department, Community Safety and Security, we have been engaging communities. What we ask is that each station area, the station commander will identify a place, set a date, and we coming along with our other stakeholders, the child and family services, and the victim support, and we offer training and counseling to these parents. So we are doing some work in that area.
Okay, my name is Nalake Robinson, and I'm from the Portmore Division. My question is, you spoke about the PAD program being given to the parents for the children. But most times when you go to sign up your child for the PAD program, they deny your application. I am not sure what's the reason for that. Basically, I am asking.
What I'm aware of is that they tend to deny it oftentimes. But there is a means test that they use to determine whether a person would be eligible for receiving the PAD benefit. And I know there was a time when persons would argue that if you have a television, if you have a fridge, I know that they have denied it. I did a short stint as Minister of Labor, so it's something that I would have heard before. When I got to that level, it's something I question. And I just don't know. I think it's a matter, again, that we have to keep raising, and as your Member of Parliament, certainly I will continue to make representation, because there's a lot of persons in different ways, persons who are on the program and are taken off because the child would have missed, I think it's 20% of school, and you're taken off. But all you would have done is to worsen the situation when you take up, when you begin to impact. Even when the child would have regularized, ready to go, they still have them off, and they just can't afford the bus fare, the transport grant now, or the other aspects of it.
Based on the PAD stuff, they ask if you have running water, if you have a flush toilet, if you have TV, if you have refrigerator, if you have music system at home, and they come and look in your home if you have those, and if you have it, they don't give you a child PAD.
But I guess that's a part of the test. I don't know if anybody can. And that falls under the path falls under the which ministry is that? Labor and Social Security. So which young person can tell me who is the minister of that ministry? Right. So maybe we need to work out, you all need to work out how to have that conversation. I mean, and follow up on that. I don't know if there's anything else we can do now or commit to now.
If the voices are loud enough,
right.
I think similar to what we are doing now, a forum where the minister, and now we have a junior minister in that ministry.
Well, you can hold the mic. Sorry, because it's important you say that.
We
because,
know if the noise is loud enough in terms of a problem, we could again, whether it is Shaini Robinson or no, is it the Member of Parliament from Southwest St. Anne, who is the Minister of State in Labor and Social Security, if we could make representation to have a forum such as this to deal with the question of path-related. And there are many other things, because I know that many of you might not even be aware of some of the opportunities educationally for final year tertiary students and all that kind of thing coming out of that same ministry.
All right, so you have work to do, my lady. You will galvanize your peers. You will find 300 young people from St. Thomas, and you will call a town hall and talk up your promises to assist you in the execution of that. But you have an advocacy matrix, make it work, and let's address those issues with PATH and labor and social security.
And I wasn't here to talk about PATH, but it got me something to talk about now. I have a music system, I have the computer, the radio, the fridge, everything. But my brother and myself, both at were at Marbury High School. I left now, I'm in college. We were both on PATH, and I'm still on PATH right now for my health. I was when I was much younger, 10 or 12, diagnosed with brain tumor, and I didn't get PATH lunch at school because the PATH, they say I couldn't stand up a PATH 2 times using health and education. Health and the food, that's mean. But beyond that, my question was about the health and criminal activities, children and criminal activities. The question is, do you think Jamaica, particularly St. Thomas, is somewhere to raise a child? In Dalmaspen recently, I have a shop in my yard, and the lady that works in the shop goes home at 7 o'clock in the evening, sometimes 6:30. She went home one evening, and before she she lives in the lane. Before she go on her lane, she saw someone out on the road, and there was a big crowd. No one knew why. When she go in her lane, she got robbed her phone and all the money she had gotten for her pay. When she came out the other day, she couldn't work because she was in too much shock. Do you think St. Pat is somewhere to raise our children? No, Minister, I don't want you to answer that yet.
No, I'm not laughing. I just saying it is a question to me.
Not particular to you. I'm
Okay,
asking the concept first.
I really...
Let me jump at that one. Yes, sir. St. Thomas is actually probably one of the best places to raise a child. Yes, there is a challenge with criminal activities. But a bigger question needs to be asked. What is the community doing about crime? We tend to sit back and think that crime are just police or soldier business. But why not make crime your business? If all of us see all the things that we need to be seen, we spend too much time on the top of when we're not concerned. That is why we encourage people to form community groups, to be a part of these groups, the neighborhood watches, the CDCs, even the same police club. Somebody would probably be in a space where they would have seen something. Mr. Cargley would have spoken earlier about the young ladies putting themselves out there. Some of us as adults, we do some stuff that are not security-wise. I am a man, I carry a firearm most times. And you won't find me walking down a dark alleyway by myself. I am not coward. I'm security conscious. I am saying as citizens, we need to align ourselves. We need to align ourselves with positive groups so that we can be together on the same page and we want the same purpose. Eh? We serve the same purpose and we want to see the same thing for the community. Safety is everybody's business. It's not just about law enforcement. So yes, sir, St. Thomas is a place to raise a child. Probably the best place. Okay? What we do about crime together will change the focus.
I I agree with you on that, and I say, in my community, my stepfather, I don't have, my father died when I was much younger. My stepfather, as well as a lot of young men in their community, come together and form a, no, what are it? A community watch club. It's not a police club, but neighborhood watch, yeah.
So the issue of teenage pregnancy has been raised, and we have to understand that teenage pregnancy, the highest rate is in St. Thomas, but it's a nationwide issue. Jamaica is fourth in the Caribbean. However, I also understand that the Jamaican government has moved towards reintegrating teenage mothers into schools, but I do not see much of that happening in St. Thomas. So I'd like to know who is going to lead the charge to reintegrate teenage mothers in schools, because when they are left on the sideline, it plunges them further into poverty.
Sisoka works alongside agencies who are always willing and put themselves out there to assist. Now, let's say a victim comes to Sisoka and she's pregnant, and pregnancy begins to show. Before the pregnancy begins to show, it is optional for them if they want to stay at that particular school until the pregnancy begins to become obvious. Now, even before that, there's a program, and pregnant teens are sent to the Women's Center. The Women's Center in Morabit is located just across from Juicy Beef, between Fitz and Scotia. So once you come and the procedure begins, then automatically you will be referred there. Now, after an individual have given birth, and the child is at a stage where they can be left in the care of someone else, then that child can be integrated into their original school, or they can seek to get a transfer to another school. But that child must, not maybe, must be in school. Even if the mother say, "Pitney, you breed where you go to school, go do." Listen me, problem there for that parent, if that parent do so. And if any such child is experiencing that, come and visit me and I will assist in terms of fixing it.
I wanted to address the path issue. If I don't have a flush toilet or TV, my child is placed on path. But should I stay that way all the time, or I should improve myself? Sometimes when they do the retest, if they see me having these things, my child is taken off path. And on the other hand, if I have these, I might have these things before, I can't afford sending my child to school. But still, because I have them, my child is not being placed on path.
The PATH program, much of the complaints that come from clients is denied by the officers in the different parishes, not just St. Thomas. I know that what you have said and others, even as Member of Parliament before I had a stint at Labour, that was the complaint we were getting. What is coming through very clear, moderator, is that we definitely need to have this consultation, because that ministry, I don't know how many persons know, but the benefits of that ministry begins from almost conception to death relative to opportunity. And part of the PATH program too, the concept, is also welfare to work. So there are persons who come on the program who the expectations is that there are other opportunities, entrepreneurial things, that can move you from what would be poverty, one could argue, to a level where it is believed, not going to go to prosperity, but I will go to the point of saying where you are seen as making significant progress along the economic ladder. And I think that too should never be overlooked, the welfare to work. And that is why even the part beneficiaries in terms of education, many have been doing very well, going on, getting help in tertiary education. And the expectation is that you would also be helping the family at some point in the line. But I think the need now is very clear that we need to, and I will certainly be part too, with possibly the Social Development Commission and others, to get that kind of forum where the young people too can come and be a part of this conversation.
Oh. We're hearing about a lot of programs being put in place, but how is it that the information has been passed on to our parents, our children? Probably the minister can answer that question for me. The other question is community safety. From birth till now, I've been living in Dumfries. I've never really seen the police in Dumfries without coming in for like criminals or they're coming on a raid. How often is it that we're going to have, we can have community intervention program where the officers walk through the community and dialogue with the persons? The next question is about disability. My mother is dumb and deaf. What is there, or what is put in place for her? There used to be a program, but it has been scrapped for a number of years now, where she used to learn sign language. But there's no more of that program anymore. So what is put in place for disability persons in St. Thomas? And the other one is the park. Where do our children play? There is a park in Dumfries on the scheme where the kids used to play football in the evening. About 10 to like 14 years old. They're very manners-able children. Because when you pass in the evening, they tell you good afternoon or good morning. And there's a lady, she used to work with the ministry, a part of the ministry.
I was just going to tell you that.
And because of she, the kids them can't play anymore. How do that child act out or play out? If she rebels or he rebels, then we say that child don't have any manners. But what do we put in place for our children?
Dumfries, and I think you almost answered the question in relation to the park, because you would have noted that I made some effort as Member of Parliament to improve that park. That lady, day and night, not just to me in terms of complaint, but also to the police. And she complains about being abused when the football come over to our house, and what happened, and what happened, and what happened. I have engaged her in the past, but I am just saying, it is not because when I took the initiative, we were really looking to see that open space where you could have engagement of, after school, and other kinds of activities in the park. Right now I'm working on 2 parks in Ponciana because I believe in utilizing this kind of space for, progressive discussions and other kinds of things. I think we have to probably look down at the Pride Project. There's an area there that could be improved.
That's where the Dumfries Basic School utilized for sports activities.
Right. I think we could look at that as a part of the option. And in satisfying both parties, we look at how we can continue to improve that space for some other things. So hold me to that. Let me see how we can resolve
the other park in Mart
that.
Bay?
And the park in Mart Bay,
Yes.
that you would have noted, a number of the initiatives that have taken place was at my insistence, although it falls under the parish council. The play area that is there, we have done some things. Well, the parish council, LED light, putting in some table, you notice persons playing dominoes and that kind of thing. My out of pocket, I got a designer to do a project because I have always felt that should be, Rudolph Elder should be our little Emancipation Park in St. Thomas. And just not getting the kind of support because we have a plan for that park. I am willing to help, but it has to be the properties owned and controlled by the parish council. So we have to get both support from them and myself to move it to the next level. And I believe it will happen. We just now need to see in the context of the proposed road. I believe that there are a number of other issues. And the Tourism Enhancement Fund, they are now looking at some projects for St. Thomas, attraction kinds and so on, and I'm sure Rudolph Elder will be part of that. The question related to communications, I believe that if there is one weakness as Member of Parliament, is the inability to put out in the public space. I've started using social media, Facebook, more in recent time. But putting out what you do, because we have done a lot of things, but it is not getting in the public space for persons to see what has been done. And I believe the more you will see, and I know the young people are on Facebook, you will see more of communicating by, not just by that, but the community meetings too. You will see more of me in that regards, speaking to certain things. The councillor candidate, caretaker spoke about transparency. Nobody can question because we have, for my CDF, I have community meetings. The last one was in Port Moran to say exactly what that $20 million that come to me as Member of Parliament or through me, how it is being allocated in relation to projects. But I think she also knows when I was in charge of roads, it's easier to say the roads we didn't fix in Bath. Plus the basic school. We built 2 basic schools in Bath. Bath Basic School, Ginger Hall Basic School, multi-purpose center has been there for almost a decade. Telephones in the early stage. Bath was one of them that what we're working on now is the Bath Fountain, and I'm trying to work on a project for the botanical gardens. But there's big plans for Bath in the future.
All right.
And we are spending right now $96 million to fix the road from Bath to Erie Castle.
So you
And
see
that
how
is
much
a-
it costs? And I just as an educator, I have to ask, $96 million on roads. Please enlighten your constituents. Where does this money come from? Because I think it's important for us to truly understand, especially those who weren't trained yesterday, for us to understand. That sounds like a lot of money, no? Not a 2-3 hours, no, or 4 or 5.
This is
depending
coming,
on where.
This money is coming from the National Work Agency program known as MIDP. And road is taking place there. There's another one in Western St. Thomas, that road that run from Yala Square going up under the same program. But there are some activities, and there are some roads we're doing even now as we speak. But the communication needs to be stepped up, that you'll be able to know what is happening.
That's true.
All right.
Thank you.
Address your community safety issue. I grew up here, as you would have probably known. We attended school. Dumfries was always one of those so-called dark areas. The police used to get a lot of violence producers from that space. Over time, those activities would have disintegrated somewhat. Some of the key players were either relocated or otherwise. Now the police have been in that space. Unfortunately, you have not seen us, but I personally was there just over a month ago with the recent kidnapping of those persons within this space. I actually visited with one of the complainants there. And during that visit on that fateful Sunday evening, I saw about 20 young men seated on the ackee tree in close proximity there. And we would have spoken, and they indicated that they love sports, and they want us to assist them in setting up some sporting activities and ventures. So I am presently doing a document to be sent through my superiors for it to be affected by either the MP or other stakeholders, so that we can start to have something to bring the community together. So you can look out for this, it is coming.
Thank you. There was something else you raised about, and just I have to come in to say, we prefer, those of us who work with people with disabilities, intellectual and physical, to not call them dumb. Sorry, I know that it is something we say, yeah, we would rather you say deaf or hearing impaired. They're not dumb. They have a lot of abilities. But you wanted to talk about disabilities. I don't know if anybody knows about a program.
I'll just make a little point here that we are getting better, especially special needs. First of all, let's locate the disability thing. It's in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. They have the responsibility. So that's another area we can put on the agenda when we have our consultation. There is a Disabilities Act now that was promulgated in 2014. Again, there are some things in that act that has not been properly implemented. And it is one of the things we are asking questions about in Parliament. But only on, when was it? Tuesday, we officially, the Digital Foundation, officially handed over a special needs school at license, high school level. And you would be shocked to see what those students are doing in, I think it started September. They are pulling down computers and fixing it back up. And I'm just saying some of the possibilities that are there. These are persons and parents who used to have to go to town, pay a bus to carry them into town to get that kind of service. We have a brand new school at License Ponciana now that is responding to those special needs students. I believe you have raised the issue about sign language, etc. And it's a matter that I think I should try to take on to see how I can work with you and with others in that regard. So I'll make a note of it and we see, because definitely we'd love to see some greater opportunities for persons, especially sign language. Even normal persons, the opportunity to learn sign language. So let's see how we can work on it.
And it can take you globally as a career to teach, to interpret globally. So very important skill. All right, so thank you. Last one before we go to Advocate Casey. I know that we're here and there's so much to get through, so I'm going to try and just move it a little faster. One question only.
There was a situation years ago which I to have develop a neighborhood watch, because we have some little crimes that have been going on and we didn't like. We don't have a community center. We don't have nothing there, right? So we try to use a school, as in evening time, we try to go over there, we play netball and such, right? We were put out of the school.
Which school are you talking?
I'm talking about Paul Bogle High School. That was years ago, about 2 to 3 years ago. We were put out of the school, right? So then and there, we have nowhere to go.
For good reasons?
I'm not hearing.
You're put out for good reasons?
Good reasons. Why were you put out?
I have no idea. When I asked to see the principal, it's like, I've been put off. Like, she's not there, or you can come back.
All right, well, we can follow up with that. Yeah, we'll follow up.
Something you'd want to return to.
Yes, we are trying to return to it because there's a new principal there and he's allowing it. No.
Okay, so you're back.
Yes. The thing is now, there are some crimes going on there. I remember it was a particular night. This lady and I were going down the lane. There's no street light there. If you're walking, you can't even see yourself. Right?
So street lights is something we have to look at.
And we were going, there was a robbery took place. I didn't know she realized what was going on. She sent me in and said, Tamara, go inside and close your door. I never know if she realized that that was going to take place. Anyway, the robbery took place. The police, it was like about 9:30 to 10, we're coming from church. And the police took like about 2 to 3 hours before they get there. When they do, it was like, after they do, and they start out the issue, them not come back into the community. We say, all right, them, spot check, or, we just a walk, we say house to house, how people are doing. There was a next crime there. It's like couple from last year. This old man was shot. All right? There's some guy come and hold up the shop, and the police them come, and after that, the day, about 2 days after they or so, them patrol the area, them stop.
All right, I know you probably have another story.
Yes.
But we only have a short time, and I know what needs to happen. So we're going to follow up with you upon the stories, but get to the question that you want to ask. So just summarize it real quick. What is it? The police issue? Is it the light? Is it that they have enough criminals in the area and you want them to be flushed out legally?
All right. Are there any community development that is putting in place for we the youths there? I'm not saying we have criminals, not that I know of, but all the youths that I know, they even try to build a ball ground for their entertainment, for their enjoyment. What are some of the safety plans that you have put out for Marant District?
All right, so we're looking at,
really need it.
Yeah, so we're looking at safety, more recreational spaces. We're looking at street lights, and we need to look at how many incidents of crime is happening in that little area and whether it needs more policing. Please respond to that. Sorry, Corporal Powell.
The truth is, Marant police area is a very big one. It spans all the way from Greenwall, goes up to Spring Garden, it goes all the way to Prospect. We have one police vehicle that services all of that space.
And that is after just getting 7.
Yes. You would recognize that we were at a deficit. So I am not trying to justify why the police would respond 3 hours after. But bear in mind that other persons would have also need the services of the police, and that one vehicle can't be everywhere at once. What I will say to you though, I have made note of your concern, and I will arrange with the sub-officer in charge of Marant Bay, who is directly responsible for your area, to arrange a community meeting for your space, and we can invite persons from the Jamaica Public Service to come and speak about the light issue. And we would also be asking Water Commission to come to deal with the water issue. And from there, we can dialogue and create this neighborhood watch group, have it up and running and functioning so we can create a safer space for you. Right?
Sounds like a plan to me.
I would love to be a part of that meeting. Which area in Marant are you speaking about exactly?
I'm talking about from Red Hills, go straight back to Marant
Finger Post?
Point. Yeah, Finger Post.
To Finger Post.
Yes.
Inclusive of the hillside behind the school?
Yes. I used to have a friend that used to come down every evening. She was a part of the thing we were planning, but currently she's not here.
Okay, because
Yes.
we're still trying to regularize those lands. The ones behind the school
Yes.
is not regularized yet. But we're still trying, and there's a meeting that I am to convene soon. But I'll be more than willing to be part of it, because let me just say, Madam Moderator, what I would love as a member of parliament, if there are issues that are coming out of this two-day discourse that are, follow-up or things that I can do, or to facilitate, I would be more than happy to take it on. I can't take on West, which is a little obvious. I think you have to, and it's part of the problem I have when, you come to this forum. I am if there's fire to face, I am the one facing, because I'm here, and I will not stop coming. But I am still saying I can only manage
Your
there are some
constituency.
issues that are wider that I will definitely be more, because like the police, I think you are well aware of my representation to get those vehicles for the police. But I would want to be fully on board if there are things that I can help to do.
Well, that's definitely an outcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kasian Lee. I am from the community of Bath, specifically Mansfield. I have a speech here, so just journey with me while I paint a picture for you. Once upon a time in Bath, there was a courthouse. Not one, but 2 drugstores, medical practices where private doctors visited on a regular basis. There were social welfare programs where the unemployed females were taught needlework such as crochet, knitting, embroidery. They were taught baking, jam making, and other aspects of the culinary arts. The men in those days ventured in farming and recreation in their spare time. In those days, persons took the time out to elevate themselves with the help of the persons in power. My audience, if you take a look at Bath now, after the decades which should have brought improvement, you would be distraught at the level of underdevelopment. We have no drugstore, no courthouse. We have only one clinic which only sees a doctor on Tuesdays. And on those Tuesdays, the clinics are overcrowded. And it takes one entire day for a patient to get through. So you're basically wasting that day overall. Our farmers have no roads to access their farmlands. And they have to cut their way with a machete daily, their walkway. They have absolutely no roads to transport their produce to and from economic ventures. There is a lack of economic activities and social amenities which forces people to migrate. To make matters worse, the very pipe, sir, please can I have your attention? The very pipe that takes water from the Bath fountain to supply the community is asbestos, which is cancerous, if most of you know, and as a people, we suffer daily. As the youths, we are fed up, we are frustrated, and we think it is time that something changes. So today, sir, we make ourselves available to work with you. Bath has a very active community club, as you know, the Up Yout Community Club, sir. And we have skilled members, and we want to develop our community. My proposal to you is this. We need to create more infrastructure and utilize those already in place to build our community so that, speaking of it, sir, you said that our community center was supposed to start refurbishing in March 2018. Sir, that deadline has already passed. That date is passed. The Bath Community Center, sir, the one in Gingerwell that you built when you started out in your earlier years, it needs to be refurbished, sir. You specifically stated that by March 2018, refurbishment would have actually started.
I didn't say that. What I said after budget exercise, but I finish your
and then
I don't want to intervene.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Sir, the school has a section that is not being utilized. Sir, that area can be used for social welfare intervention, where people learn trade and crafts to build themselves and make a living. Sir, in that area, I am a teacher. I am making myself available to work with you. If there are persons who like to learn math and are in the Bath community, they can come. I offer my services. I know that there are other persons who are skilled in other areas who are willing to offer themselves. So let us sit down, form a committee, talk about these things. We have the ideas. We have the people. We just need a little assistance. We need to be working together as partners. I'm not just here to point finger and say, I have this issue, I have that issue. We as a people in Bath, we are here ready to work with you, sir. So let us work together.
Thank you. Advocacy in motion. But let her know, sir, that you write when you're paying attention. But I like that. She was very confident, and it's very important. So would you like the MP to respond?
Yeah, let me just respond quickly. I really appreciate the fact that you have taken time out to put your thoughts on paper. And what I appreciate even more, the fact that you have offered yourself for service, which I will take up on that offer. Let me, however, remind you of just a few things, not to discredit anything that you would have said, but to put the thing in context. The days we're talking about in relation to 40 years ago, I was working at the Bath Health Center, One Health Center. Since that time, one of the reasons, and today we are having a work day at the clinic. And that work day is not accidental. It came out of the meeting I had when I attended your AGM. It would have been 4 or 5 weeks ago. And the matter was raised. I came out of that meeting and I met with the National Health Fund and made representation. That's how, and I visited there today too, the work that is taking place. What we want is a search for solution. And the fact that you are willing to work, and I am also willing to work. What I will, however, say, the same center that is being asked for refurbishing, Madam Moderator, we fixed it up. We built a new basic school right beside it. We built a multi-purpose center. It's one of the multi-purpose centers that has been built long before the other 4 or so that I have done.
Yes.
Outside of that, the same community center got 13 computers that were left there to rot. 13 computers that I gave. And they were left there to rot. So, you know, just to say we come and rebuild or refurbish, once we have the team in place to do what needs to be done, trust me, I am willing to work. So I'll get your information because I like your passion. And I think it is important to convert that into useful outcome. So you have my full support in that regards.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just before I go, I know that you are fixing the roads, the main roads, but what about those adjacent to Bath? For example, Mansfield. Sir, before you stand up, I live in Mansfield. There are landslides that has been there from last year that has not been cleaned. It is in deplorable condition, and because of that, the water is not taking the channel that it's supposed to take. It's taking the roadway and it is digging up the road. I am sorry that Mr. Ludlow Matheson is not here today because he's the one person that I want to address. As
Ludlow Matheson would be the counselor.
Counselor, yes.
Okay, so we need to connect that conversation and this clip.
So if you can, sir, just
But
make
just
the
to
connection.
remember, we fixed every road in Bath Division except for not Mansfield. Mansfield was fixed.
In 2000.
You are old enough to remember when
Yes,
Mansfield.
in 2003.
Not by the councillor,
I know.
but by mayor's member. We fixed Taunton. We did from Potosi to Morant River Bridge. What we left out was Mount Felix, parts of Ayfield. We did the parish council side of Beacon Hill. Not that. We did Your Road, we did Springbank, we did Johnson Mountain. So, you know, we have done Bath to Audley on 3 occasions since the mid-90s.
Sir, Masila's only done on one of those occasions.
One occasion. And I take your point about they having not cleaned up your things. So I'm going to arrange to clean it up. All right? So I really want us work.
Thank you.
Good. And thank you for your intervention.
Plus, I thought youth at risk in my community. Sometime in last year, I took it upon myself to start back a police youth club. I went to Mr. Garden, but however, there was no police representative at the meeting, and then I started out with a 32, 30 something, and then it go back to 3, 4 because no police was there. Like, so my question is to Mr. Powell, what about the youths in Tapos Prospect? And we don't even have a place to keep meetings or nothing like that. So I would like if the MP could have like get us a community center or something like that.
Can I just, I'm going to ask you to quickly respond, because this is the last one. I'm going to ask you what your question is. But the question I ask is, and I would like the St. Thomas youth to just be honest. When you get a community center, 1, do you look after it? And 2, do you use it for development?
The brand new community center that I built out at license now. Ask them what is happening to it.
What is happening to it, youth? Let's be straight up for a minute. So we're using our money to build whoever's money it is. I say ours. If it's government money, my money, come and pay a tax. So what we're saying is we build a community center, but nobody now use it. So they don't take care of it. And I'm just putting that out there. If you get a community center, because if we have to be honest, if you want a meeting and you really want a meeting, you can go somebody out and sit down and have a meeting. I'm just saying, under the Aki tree. If you really want a meeting, because it's not about the meeting is just the first thing. What is the outcome after the meeting? What work you're going to do? What you're meeting to do? Because you can meet in WhatsApp. Can I just, guys, sorry. I just have to be so honest because I think from our observation, and we have been to every parish and hundreds of communities, and we see community centers for young people much up. And they're not progress. They're not doing much with it. So the question is, our team, look how effective our team is. And we all work 20 jobs. And we meet on WhatsApp. Every single morning, noon, and night, we work together on WhatsApp, on Google Drive. We use that technology, text each other. That's how we work. That is where we meet every single morning, and we end the day right there. And we share files right there, and we share ideas. And I have 12 different projects going on right now, and I have 12 different groups, and that's where we meet, because I don't want no overheads. I'm not trying to have 100 offices and pay JPS and pay rent. So you got to think smart. You use what you have, and that's something I just have to put out there. But if you need a community center, and it's going to fix all of those issues faced in St. Thomas that you identified, then that's when I will stand with you and say, let's fight for that community center. Is it going to bring wealth creation?
Well, it could give the youth opportunity to mentorship and push them forward because there are a lot of opportunities, but there's no one to help them and say, well, then.
You don't need a community center for mentorship. At some point, you just, I have to do this to you because this is for everybody. Mentorship can happen by finding somebody in Jamaica, in your community, who you admire and is doing well. Walk up and say, I would like to help you. I'd like to volunteer. I'd like to learn. Can I assist you? Can I carry your bag? Can I sweep your floor? Can I clean your toilet so you can observe, learn, and do it at your best so that you now have an opportunity for them to take you under your wing? Elders, am I right or wrong? I just have to put out some truth, because sometimes, yes, but you got to start with what you have. So you said mentorship. What's the other thing you're going to use a community center for?
To keep the meetings like.
Why you can't keep the meeting on WhatsApp? And put the police in there too. Because we have MPs in different parishes. Every parish we leave, we have an MP in the WhatsApp group with 25 to 200 youth. And the MP is monitoring every single conversation. And he's putting in or she's putting in when they're having meeting. And they're saying, communication it's a new world. You don't have to be in a physical space to have communication. So great, you're going to have a meeting there. And we do need to meet face to face. That's important. But what else are you going to do there?
There's a police club. Can I keep Viva WhatsApp or texting?
You can't?
No.
Yes, you can. There's no such thing as can't in my book. What man has done, man can do. And when you put her in our group, every youth that I know have WhatsApp.
True.
Every youth I know they're on Facebook, because you can start Facebook group. And if you don't have data tomorrow, they're going to find it next week. That's where you meet. If I can give you one bit of advice and be your mentor for the day, is yes, fight for the community center, but you better know what you're going to do with it, and you better have numbers that's going to utilize it to build your parish and to build your capacity, to earn for yourself and to develop your community. That is the advice I'm giving you. Will my team agree or disagree? Final word.
If I may add to what you're saying, your moderator, all the police youth clubs that we have created and started, we all have WhatsApp groups up and running where we share information and we get things going. I am not able to attend every meeting. Being the coordinator, it takes me away from most clubs. I try to visit the weakest clubs to boost their morale. So what I do, I keep check on my clubs via the WhatsApp group. So it is doable. All right? But just leave your contact with me, and we'll be speaking with you to try to get this one up and running again.
Okay,
Woo-hoo! Clap yourselves for participating. I want to thank all of our panel, our panelists, our representatives who are elected to serve us for coming. Give them a round of applause.